Welcome, everyone. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's July 12th, 2019. The show, as always, is presented by the Marijuana Times. MarijuanaTimes.org is where you can find us. Click the video tab there to find this show. A lot of great articles there as well from a bunch of talented writers, social media links, and more. MarijuanaTimes.org. Whoops. Jumped the gun a little bit there. As I said, if you don't watch the video, as I've said many times before, if you don't watch the video version of the show, you'll miss various graphic snafus that I'll make during the show. I like to think this is part of the charm and the character of the show, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just crap. It's up to you to decide. Today, talking about yet another study that shows teen use is not increasing under legalization. Also, Florida's medical marijuana rules have been overruled, if you will, by a court ruling. A lot of ruling and rules going on, and now anxiety, a new qualifying condition in Pennsylvania when it comes to medical marijuana. All of that's coming up. But first, of course, as you know, because I jumped the gun on the graphic, Nature Side, that's right, nature-side.com, and they're organic, all natural pesticides. Grow safe and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals on what you are growing, things that people are going to be ingesting. Don't use banned pesticides. Be regulatory compliant in the state that you're growing in. Do all these things with Nature Side, nature-side.com. Proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Go check them out. This first story by Julia Granowitz at MarijuanaTimes.org. Another study finds that legalizing cannabis reduces teen use. Since cannabis legalization first began in Colorado and Washington, there's been a noticeable decline in the number of teens who claim to use cannabis. The most recent study, published in the medical journal JAMA Pediatrics, found an 8% decrease in teens who said they had used marijuana in the last 30 days, and a 9% decrease in those who said they had used it 10 or more times in states where recreational cannabis is legal. The study was conducted by researchers from Montana State University, University of Oregon, the University of Colorado, Denver, and San Diego State University. Mark Anderson, who's an associate professor at Montana State University in Bozeman, Montana, said, quote, "Just to be clear, we found no effect on teen use following legalization for medical purposes, but evidence of a possible reduction in use following legalization for recreational purposes." They analyzed data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Youth Risk Behavior Survey, combing through results spanning from 1993 to 2017. Of course, as many people will point out, correlation does not equal causation. But one thing's for sure at this point, the notion or the fear that marijuana legalization will lead to increased teen use has just been absolutely destroyed. Has been blown out of water. And study after study after study, data review after data review after data review, teen use either is stagnant or is falling in states with legalization. So to continue to pretend, as Julia points out later in the article, to continue to pretend that it's easier and more likely for teens to use marijuana under legalization is just not true. And I don't know how many studies we need to finally get rid of that myth. Probably more, if I had to guess, than what we have now. There's always going to be someone who says, but won't legalization increase teen use? And we'll say, no, it doesn't. Haven't you been paying attention? And it'll say, no, of course I haven't been paying attention. That's why I said that. And it'll be a fun conversation we get to have. Next story from TampaBay.com. Florida's medical marijuana rules are unconstitutional, court says, in an affront to Rick Scott-era rules, that have cost the state years in court battles. An appellate court issued a ruling Tuesday that the current medical marijuana regulatory system is unconstitutional and inconsistent with Amendment 2, the ballot proposal that legalized medical marijuana. First District Court of Appeal decision in Tallahassee called the current vertically integrated system unconstitutional for the way it caps licenses and charges companies with essentially being one-man bands. They must grow, process, package, and sell medical marijuana without bringing in businesses to handle different parts of the process. Tampa-based Flora-Grown originally sued the Department of Health, which regulates medical marijuana under its Office of Medical Marijuana Use. After being denied an approval for a license, the system currently caps the number of facilities, a statute the court called unreasonable in its ruling. The three-judge panel's ruling upheld in part a 2018 decision by Leon County Circuit Judge Charles Dotson, who sided with Flora-Grown in a lawsuit alleging the law did not properly carry out the amendment. Dotson issued a temporary injunction required, state officials to begin registering Florida-grown and other medical marijuana firms to do business. But the judge's order was put on hold while the state appealed. Now that appellate ruling has come down, and a new rules, a new system, new things are coming to Florida medical marijuana. It's been a struggle. If you follow the story out of Florida, it's been a struggle from the ban on smokable medical marijuana and getting that overturned, to the fits and starts with the problems of getting the regulations out, to court cases galore when it comes to what's going on with Florida medical marijuana. And, all I can say is they're still battling, and we'll continue covering it. Continue. Because we would continue to cover it. We will continue that process of covering it, because it's a long process, as it is in many states. It has turned out to be in Florida, which legalized medical marijuana almost 3 years ago now. Some states have it easier than others. Some states it's just a real struggle. It really is. In Florida is one of those. This last story from Inquirer.com. Anxiety now qualifies for medical marijuana in Pennsylvania. Thursday, the Pennsylvania Department of Health added anxiety disorders and Tourette's syndrome to the list of health conditions that qualify for treatment using medical marijuana. The conditions were approved following a recommendation by the State Medical Marijuana Advisory Board and a review of research by Health Secretary Rachel Levine. Anxiety and Tourette's will join the state's list of 21 serious ailments on July 21st. Levine said in the statement, quote, "I did not take this decision lightly. For both conditions, medical marijuana is not a first-line treatment and should not replace traditional therapies, but should be used in conjunction with them when recommended by a physician." Anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the United States, affecting more than 18% of the population every year, according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. By that measure, about 1.73 million Pennsylvanians might qualify to participate in the state's 2-year-old medical marijuana program that has seen about 137,000 residents sign up. So anxiety will open up the medical marijuana program in Pennsylvania to a lot of people, which is a good thing. The more people have access to medical marijuana and have that choice, the better. So that's awesome. Good news in Pennsylvania. That's the end of the week. Go. Enjoy. You're now officially allowed to start your weekend. Thank you for checking out the show. As always, search the Marijuana Times on YouTube and Vimeo. Apple Podcasts if you want the audio version of the show. Also the video tab at marijuanatimes.org. Thank you to Nature Side, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thanks to all of you who watch and listen, comment, share, and all that good stuff. Click the notification bell on YouTube so you know a new episode of Cannabis News has dropped. Thank you for watching and listening today, and we'll see you next week right here on Cannabis News.